Good morning, USA. Ba-ba-na-na-na-da. Let me see here. Alright, get that there. You know what, we can have a, I didn't even think of that. We can have a chat box on this one. Let's have a chat box. Let's put this up. And boom, bada bing. Hey guys! Hold on, I'll catch up with you in just a second there. Okay, put that up there. Forgot we can have a chat box here. Alright, cool. Alright, I just got a couple things I gotta correct here. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's why. Hold on. I got my chat box screwed up. You cannot have your chat box screwed up. It's just that's unforgivable. And I will hold on. Let me get my chat box right. Let me get my box right. Okay, and that's better. Kidoki. Now we can start talking. Okay, got everything right. Now before we start talking, I just wanted to let you guys know I got this on ultra low latency. Let's see if because we have a strong enough signal now to do that. Let's see if that cuts down the amount of lag time between. Let's see. There we go. Okay, that worked. If that cuts down the amount of lag time or delay time between what I see and respond to. Okay, here we go. Thanks, Milo. Milo Yiannopoulos. World War III. Now, I knew that's what everybody was going to want to talk about a lot. Guys, you're not. This isn't the start of World War III. I mean, whenever something like this happens, you're going to get the hyperbole on social media, particularly Twitter. Twitter's a shithole. Talking about World War III, and there's going to be a draft, and there's going to be this, there's going to be that. No, I'm not saying that this is a nothing event. I'm saying it's not something that's going to precipitate an all-out confrontation between all the major powers of the world. Let's face it, the Middle East is in a constant state of upheaval. That's nothing new over there. But beyond that, there have been issues between Iran and the U.S. for what, at least that I remember, 4 or 5 decades, probably more. And there's, between the things that Iran has done recently, the provocations, the whole thing, and then the whole thing with with our consulate the other day. It's not surprising that, given the opportunity to take this guy out, that the Americans took it. Will Iran respond with something? I'm sure they're going to come up with something. But to have the beginnings of a world war, you have to have a lot more of the world invested and willing to potentially give up everything that they've come to know in life, depending on how the war shakes out. And trust me, Iran has allies of convenience, particularly in Russia and China. Neither Russia nor China have enough of a death wish for them, potentially themselves, but their life as they know it, to step in and want to confront the U.S. over an ongoing conflict with Iran. Okay, Trump doing this thing, stay in power after impeachment. Chaz, my friend, that doesn't really make any sense. If the Senate votes to remove him, he's removed. It doesn't matter what state the country is in as far as internationally. The impeachment itself is an entirely separate issue. I mean, it's not going to help him stay in power. If he's removed by trial in Senate, he's gone. That's nothing to do with this. Let's see. England is trying to be a peacemaker. Yeah, I see that. I see that, Poppy. Like I say, for me, my personal take on it, when you have the chance to take this guy out, you had to take it. I think they did the right thing there. And the pieces will fall wherever the pieces may fall. You certainly don't you don't look for a war. But you guys, the one thing you have to understand is, to get a really accurate take on it, you don't have too many places to turn, because we all know that the media outlets in our country are all based one side or the other. If you go on any social media, it's all based one side or the other. It's not about the realities of what might be going on. It's more about how can I further my own personal narrative with this. Chrome says, it's a stupid skirmish, but more or less business as usual. If Iran is dumb enough to declare war, it'll be hilarious. I've always wondered what a city turn class in the Middle East would look like. Chrome brings up an interesting point. A lot of people, of course, which are understandable, compare this back to the war in Iraq. But you have to remember the components here are different. Because even though the war took place in Iraq and the idea was to topple Saddam, it was done more with an eye towards these supposed weapons of mass destruction, but to a further extent, as the resulting conflicts that have taken place in Afghanistan, so on and so forth, it was against ISIS. It was against terrorists. If Iran declares war, it's country on country. That changes the dynamic a lot, simply because now the Americans will be fighting another nation, and they won't be as concerned about being surgical. They will just obliterate whatever they need to obliterate within that nation, which you can't do when you're fighting terrorists who are hiding in and amongst civilians. King of Max says, if I see Spaz Kid in Iran, I'm giving him at 100%. And that's another thing, too. You have to remember, guys, I know a lot of people, younger people, get panicked about a potential draft. The military is fully staffed. Trump has brought the military up to full staffing levels. There's no reason to believe. Put it this way. If there was ever a draft, it would be a world war. It would have to escalate to that level for there to ever be the need for a draft, and we'd have way more issues, concerns than anything that we're talking about here today. Because again, this would be the first world war that would be fought with a majority of countries involved having nuclear capability. So what our military is more than adequate to handle what we're dealing with right now. There's no talk of a draft. Member Barry says, no World War III. I wanted to goose some Iranians. I'm sad. Poor Iranians would be like, what the hell's a goose? And then they wouldn't want to know. Let's see. With modern tech, a draft becomes less and less likely to happen with modern countries. To be fair, a lot of stuff is becoming more and more automated. Correct. Chrome makes another good point there, which is wars every year. The idea of a war being boots on ground or predominantly boots on ground becomes less and less likely. It's just like this particular strike was carried out by drones, and that's how a lot of the warfare nowadays would be handled. It's not putting tons of boots on the ground, particularly, again, when you're fighting nation versus nation, not trying to ferret terrorists out from within civilians. Omega says, I've said it before and I'll say it again, getting involved in the Middle East was a mistake. That area is a hornet's nest, and us being there is doing more harm than good. I think that's true to a certain degree, Omega, but the only addendum I would have to that is when you have a nation such as Iran that, how many times do we see them in the streets chanting death to the U.S.? It is one of those cases where I think you have to keep your thumb on them over there, or you could potentially end up fighting them here. That's the only issue I have. I agree that we are too involved in the Middle East in the respect that we've got to pick and choose our battles better. But for me, I mean, just from my personal opinion, taking out this guy was absolutely the right thing to do. Given that opportunity, you have to take him out. But you have to take that next step and say, okay, there are a lot of interests in the Middle East that would do great harm to the U.S. if they could. Maybe we do have to have a little bit of a presence there. But again, I completely agree with the fact that we could absolutely pick and choose our battles better. Excuse me. Would you ever imagine hitting 1 million, Darren? Oh, subscribers? To be honest with you, I mean, I enjoy what I do immensely. I love the YouTube channel. I love the Goosh. I look forward to this every day. So I don't mean to belittle it. I'm not a big numbers guy when it comes to that stuff. Not for myself. As long as I can do this. I mean, I got to pop up a live stream here. Because I wanted to chat with you guys and, hash things out. And just like earlier, hit a live stream so I can play some games with you guys. As long as I can do that and we're all here enjoying it, I'm happy. I mean, if I hit 1 million, yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be great. If I never go past whatever we're at right now and I can still continue doing this, I'll be happy doing that too. Michael Barlow says, hey, would you be able to leave this up the channel? Should be able to, Mike. I specifically did not start this stream in the context to where people can post videos to it. I'll do some of those again for you guys. For those of you who are regulars at live streams, we have, if I use my OBS, people can post 30-second clips to the stream. I'm not doing that on this one specifically because I want it to be able to go up to the channel. When we do that, we can't because, you always worry about copyright after the fact. So, yeah, it should be. I won't be able to listen long. I agree with your stance on Iran. Can't let things fester. I agree, Mike. Yeah, and it should be up if you want to check it. Unless something goes wrong or unless YouTube, for some reason, which is always possible when you talk current events, unless YouTube takes it down on me, yeah, it'll be up for you, pal. But yes, I think we have to very, very closely and intimately monitor what goes on over there. Let's see. The latest Star Wars? No, I haven't seen it yet, Sweet Beast. We're talking about it. Spaz Kid and I and a friend of ours, we want to go to it. Then we got put off a little by some of the reviews, but we're still going to go get to see it. Minecraft will be coming up, Mr. Power. I as I said in the stream today, I'll be switching back between Minecraft and GTA 5. I think that's a good yin and yang too. You can't get too much difference in style of gameplay, I guess, in Minecraft and GTA 5. But yeah, I'll be going back and forth between them. Yeah, I want to see how. I'm telling you though, it's like I'm actually getting nervous when I play Minecraft because if I die, I'm gonna snap. I don't want to die in that. You put that effort in, man. You die and it's just like all gone. No, no, can't have it. Why worry about World War III, Stuart says, when a certain octopus teacher is going to blow up the planet this summer. Good point. Glad you're enjoying Haas class. My D100s weren't in vain. Not at all, Stuart. That's what, that's what got me. Stuart's talking about over at the Goosh. He had sponsored a couple of episodes of Assassination Classroom, and it piqued my interest so much that I asked the gang if they wouldn't mind, because at the $1 level there, we always have one series, and I put them in, and the other two that we do every day, the gang votes on. So I asked the gang if they wouldn't mind doing a longer series, because we're doing shorter ones, because I needed to see more of Assassination Classroom, and it's freaking fun. God damn, that's a fun game. Omega, let's make myself clear. There's a distinct difference between keeping an eye on potential threats and what we've been doing over there the last few years. Yeah, we don't disagree on that, Omega. Absolutely. I'm with you. I've said for years that we get our fingers far too deep into the Middle East. And let's face it, for many generations it was about oil. It's not so much now. People don't realize that we're pretty much self-reliant when it comes to oil, and can be for many years to come. And I believe, now I'm not 100% sure, I believe our biggest source of imported oil is Canada now, correct? So yes, we don't have nearly the dependence on Middle Eastern oil as we used to, and that's unfortunate that we were involved as we were over oil. Smiggy, Trump is going to war with Iran, and Iran's going to pay for it. I don't think so. You could be right. It's going to depend on Iran's response, without question. I know Iran is indignant. I know they hate America. But at some level, I mean, let's just be honest. In a war, American technology, American military technology could, as was alluded to earlier, turn Iran to glass if they wanted to. They can. I mean, I'm not saying they will, but they could. Does Iran really want to tempt that? Anybody in power, particularly in power the way the Ayatollah is in Iran, is not generally that anxious to give it up. They'll do something because they feel like they have to. I kind of think their response is going to be very measured, but again, just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. They could launch an all-out offensive tomorrow. That's just my opinion. Phoenix, hey Curtis, you see Godzilla King of the Monsters? No, I didn't see the latest Godzilla movie, and I like monster movies. Just didn't get around to it type thing. Ma said, oh, this is actually a good point. Hold on, Maz. Oh, sorry guys, all the talking today on the streams. I gotta keep lubricating. Maz says, people also forget that Trump has been actively avoiding direct conflict with Iran for a long time. That is true. And it was his advisors that pushed for direct conflict. Pretty sure Trump hedged his bets with this. Yeah, you guys remember, I mean, they've been pushing Trump's buttons with blowing up the oil fields over in Saudi Arabia. I mean, with shooting down the drone. He had a couple of opportunities where everybody thought, okay, he's going to let him have it. And he hasn't. He has shown restraint. I think more than even hedging his bets, Maz, I think this is more of a case of going back to Osama bin Laden and the mistake Clinton made. And again, I'm not anti-Clinton. I like Bill Clinton. I don't like Hillary Clinton. I like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had an opportunity to take him out and didn't do it. And I think when you're talking about somebody who has been responsible for so many American lives lost, so many lives lost to people all around the world, even his own people, when your advisors come to you, when your military advisors come to you and say, hey, we have good intel, they're going to be here at this time, we can take them out, I think you say, yes, you do it. That's my opinion. But yes, I agree with you, Miles. He's shown restraint that has surprised me, to be honest with you, up until this. Have you seen how shit the movie Cats is? I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it, Soaring Eagle. I know it's not doing jack at the theaters. Even my wife loves Cats, and she even lost interest in the idea of seeing it because she said, so many of her friends have seen it and just hated it. Let's see. My girlfriend's got high latency. I think she's pregnant. I'm gonna have to buy myself 6-fingered gloves. Milog says. Devon says, if Donald Trump is being impeached, could he still be in the White House? There's a lot of misconception. Well, I guess it's not something everybody studies about impeachment. Basically what it is, Devin, he's been impeached by Congress. Okay? The Senate has to hold a trial on the impeachment. 2/3 of the Senate has to vote to convict him with our Supreme Court Justice. I can't. My terminology is going right on my head. Presiding over the trial. So while he is impeached, there's a whole nother very, very, very big step towards removal. And just when you consider that just the impeachment itself was completely one-sided. In other words, you only had Democrats voting for it. A couple of them defected, voted against it. No Republicans did. Republicans control the Senate, and you need 2/3. The odds of him being removed are remote. And now, of course, Pelosi's holding on to the articles of impeachment because, well, in my way of seeing it, apparently Pelosi thinks that not only should she have run the impeachment inquiry, but she also apparently wants to run the Senate trial, even though it's none of her concern, because she's not going to send them over till she gets the trial that she wants. And it's like, so hold on to them. What do we got here? Let's see. Right. I'm not sure about that, Flame. Flame said too, I'm not sure. I don't think he's officially impeached until Pelosi actually sends the actual articles to the Senate. That could be. I can't say either way because I'm not sure. I've heard that too, but the one thing, excuse me, the one thing I can't stand when I'm on the internet is hearing somebody be unwilling to say, gee, I don't know, and just taking a stab, and I refuse to do that. So I'm not sure. That sounds like it could be the case. It would make sense, but I'm not, I had read that. I wasn't sure if that was the case or not, though. Gone makes a good point, because I had asked the same thing. I lean right. I can't call myself really a hardcore conservative or hardcore to the right because, well, for a number of reasons. One, I'm an atheist, so that pretty much leaves me out. Two, I'm very much pro-gay rights, and I have a lot of other views. I'm also pro-choice, so I don't fit, but I do lean right. But I've always said the desire to get Trump out has got to be just based on the old, the orange man bad hatred, because why would the left want Pence? I mean, they're masturbating into the wind when they talk about, oh no, we're going to get them both. No, you're not going to connect Pence to anything Trump has done, not to the degree that you could get him removed as well. So yeah, I would think if I was on the left, I would rather have Trump than Pence. Pence is psychotically to the right. People tend to forget, up until fairly recently, Trump was a Democrat. Trump is not a classic conservative by any means. Let's see. Am I a Trump supporter? I wouldn't say that, Ski Mask. I voted for him, and in this next election, I probably will vote for him again. Because to me, when you say Trump supporter, that suggests that I'm all for the man and everything he stands for. No, I think of the options, I align myself much more with Trump's platitudes, with Trump's ideas, than I do with those on the left. So I vote for him. So I guess that's up to everybody else to determine. Does that make me a Trump supporter or not? I don't know. I can name you several Republicans I would rather have as president or running for president, starting with Nikki Haley, over Trump without question. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes me a Trump supporter or not, but I am going to vote for him again, just because and it's not something I took lightly. I've watched the Democratic debates and everything carefully because I was looking for somebody else, to potentially jump on board with, but I haven't found them. Omega Project says, let's be honest, unless Iran is suicidal, they won't do anything extreme. I agree with you there. They know as well as anyone that we could glass them. Right. And that's my take on it too, Omega. That's why I think they're going to... They have to do something. They feel like they have to do something, and they will. But I think, and again, just my opinion, I think it's going to be very, very measured what they do. Right. I don't think they want to pull in the full fire and fury. I really don't. Smiggy says, any New Year's resolutions? You know what, Smiggy? No. The only reason I don't do those, and I never have, is because I always felt that if you feel that there's something you're lacking in life, or something you feel like you should be doing better or could be doing better, or you just want to do differently, why wait till a specific date on the calendar? Just try and make yourself better. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look coming up on New Year's Day for things that I can improve in the coming year. I try and honestly look at myself all the time and say, hey, you know what? This kind of sucks about you. Let's see if you can change it. I've never... So that's the only reason I've never gotten New Year's resolutions. I think you should just be looking at yourself and improving what you can whenever you can. Maz says, my guess is that the Democrats realize that people prefer Trump over neocons and hope to remove Trump so that Republicans have to push a neocon. That's interesting. That's that you can make that case. That's very possible. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective. That could be, Maz. That's very possible. Sandro says, Muslim countries are bigger believers than Christians, so if someone declares war on Iran, most of Muslim countries are going to join. I don't know, Sandro, though. Iran has been committing horrible, heinous acts against other Muslim countries, though. I would disagree with you there. Look at what this Yazoo did to his own people just recently when they were protesting. What was it 1,000 to 1,500 of them that were? I don't know if it was 1,000 to 1,500 that were killed, or 1,000 to 1,500 that were detained. And once you get detained, yeah, your outlook isn't good. So I would disagree with that. Lamb Lucifer, China and Russia don't care at all. I agree with that for the most part. I think they have some concern there. And they have to, I think, especially Russia, they have to emote concern. They have to let the world think that they have genuine concern, but they don't. Their concerns, and this isn't a criticism, it's just is what it is. Their concerns are for themselves. Now, if the U.S. and Iran hooking it up at any level doesn't honestly affect them, then no, they're not going to get involved. John says, thoughts on gun control. I'm pro Second Amendment. I don't have an issue with things such as background checks, things of that nature. My biggest issue with gun control is every time there is a shooting or something, particularly when there are school shootings, the simplistic idea that somehow making that gun a little more difficult to get was going to change something. The fact that we fail as a country, again, because everything is polarized and you have to be one side or the other, as a country, instead of realizing that there's a real serious issue in that children want to kill a bunch of other children, we never get to that because we're too worried about arguing about what they use to accomplish that. And the reason I say that is I go back to when I was a kid, back in the late 60s, early 70s, and through the 70s. When I was a kid, guys, I went to school in the country. I was out in a very rural area. There was tons of pickup trucks in the parking lot, and every one of them had at least one gun in a rack on the back window. I can remember kids after Christmas bringing guns into the school to show the other kids and teachers the new hunting rifle they had gotten or something like that. So what I'm saying is, the concern with everybody seems to be, well, guns are too easily obtainable and too easily accessible. Hell, you can access them any time of the day or night at pretty much any age, and nobody was shooting schools up. So something happened to people, and that's way more important than gun control, and nobody wants to talk about that. That's what makes me crazy. Hold on, I like to make sure I don't miss any super chats. Have you ever thought of doing a reaction on sketches from Monty Python's Flying Circus? I haven't, Jose. Well, I shouldn't say most of them. A good hunk of them I've already seen, though. I was a big Monty Python fan. And back in the day, they used to, here in America, they ran the Monty Python sketches on the PBS stations. And it was like the only time I watched PBS. I used to watch them on there all the time. So there wouldn't be that many of them that would be new to me anyway. I love Monty Python. Do you like single action revolvers and top break revolvers? I had a top break revolver. Was the last handgun I owned when I lived in New Mexico. Now, the only thing I have now is I have a little 22 that was given to Braxton actually when he was born by a friend of mine. A friend of mine was a big gun enthusiast. Actually used to have a gun shop, used to be a gun dealer, and he gave it to him. But that's the only gun I have in the house now. But yes, I actually liked the old school revolvers. I liked the Old West style weapons. Excuse me. Let's see. Jamie says, Uncle Curtis, do you think that the assassination of that Iranian general will lead to World War III like the media keeps claiming? No, Jamie. As you're talking about, no, I don't. I don't think there's enough vested interest from anybody in the world in Iran to have them want to actually confront and conflict with the U.S. Again, does Russia really want to give up their very way? Because no matter what happens, in a war between Russia and the United States, everybody loses. And the world changes for all of us. We all know that. Does Russia really want to give all that up? Give up everything they know and go into the unknown where they could potentially be obliterated over Iran? No. Does China? Certainly not. Z does not want anything to do. He's got a good thing going over there. I mean, from his perspective, it's a good thing. No, I don't think you're leading towards World War III at all. Again, as I've said, I think what you're going to see from Iran is that they need to have a response, but I think it's going to be a very measured response because, again, now you'd be talking, it's a whole different thing than ferreting out terrorists within a nation. You'd be talking nation versus nation, and I don't think Iran's all that keen on being turned into a parking lot. I don't. Let's see. Omega Project. Well, thank you, Omega, for the... I'm going to remember the name. I know it's the letter M because that's what I use as my memory crutch. Some of you guys don't know what I'm going through here. It's the color of the $50 super chats that we... Are you kidding me? I got the first letter and I still can't get it to come. Certain words, guys, for any of you who are new here, I have post-concussion syndrome. And certain words do not stick. The designated color we gave this level... Magenta. There it is. I found it. Thank you for the magenta sky, Omega. It takes a while. Correction. China and Russia aren't going to stick their necks out. They'll say this and that. Yes, completely agree. When push comes to shove, they'll stay out of it. It's the same reason China keeps North Korea around because it's convenient for them. We're 100% agreement. Yep. You're right. They'll talk. They'll do a lot of chirping. And they'll do a lot of condemnation of the United States. But right, they're not going to stick their necks out. I mean, and even look at it from... I can honestly look at it from their perspective. They would be stupid to. You're going to take a chance on changing your entire way of life and possibly no longer having a nation or no longer being in power in a nation over Iran? Nah, it's not going to happen. Thanks, Edgar. Edgar says, send in polar bears or sweet berry bushes to World War III. For those who don't know, I'm playing hardcore mode in Minecraft. And I didn't know. I go to this frozen island. There's this cute little polar bear there with its baby. I thought it was cute as hell, and the goddamn thing attacked me, tried to rip me to shreds. And then when I died the first time, the first time I was playing through the hardcore mode, I got down to half a heart and I ran into a sweet berry bush and it killed me. Thanks for bringing up those painful memories, Edgar. Dylan, hey Curtis, I love your videos. What are your thoughts of Australia being on fire? That's horrible. That's horrific. Man, I have I have so much respect for Australia and Australians, and God, it's one of the places that my wife and I have always wanted to visit. Yeah, words can't describe it. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's completely out of control. Let's see. Andrew, what do you think about flat earthers? Be honest. I'm one. I'm always honest, Andrew. I don't believe in having a public persona and not being honest. I think it's crazy. The earth is not flat. Trust me. The earth is the sphere that we all have believed it to be, and it's not something I even engage because, to be perfectly honest, Andrew, to me, it's ridiculous. We can talk about a lot of things. You know, somebody has opinion A, I have opinion B, somebody else has opinion C, and we can go back and forth with that all day long. There's no opinion base in there. The world is not flat. The earth is not flat. Wolf Howling, I love your videos. Secondly, I want to say thank you for being a father figure for me when I lost both my parents within just 3 months. Jesus Christ. Love you. Well, thank you, Wolf. I appreciate that. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's horrible. Wow. That's just the absolute worst. But hey, if being around here helped you get through that at all, or just makes you feel good in any way, I am absolutely, honestly, sincerely more than honored. You have no idea. I'm really sorry to hear about that, though. That's terrible. That is awful. Smokey Loki, thank you for the Crimson Sky. Crimson, I always remember. Thank you for the Crimson Sky, Smokey Loki. People are too complex for a two-party system. God damn, you're right there. But it works in the government's favor to keep us at odds with each other. Yep. I support laws and policies that help the economy, address corruption within state and government agencies, and allow the American people to prosper. You won't get an argument on any one of those points from me, Smokey Loki. I completely agree, and that's really well put. And I like the way Smokey Loki put that, and I'll tell you exactly why. People are too complex for a two-party system because it doesn't allow, and particularly the two-party system we have now, and this is both sides, when both sides want everybody that leans to their side to be harnessed and shackled into this specific set of beliefs, and if you don't stick with us down the line, then you're no good. And that's how both parties are right now. But he also says, but it works in the government's favor to keep us at odds with each other. And that's important the way he wrote that, because I'm not a believer that this two-party system was put in place for government to keep us at odds with each other. I think it, as he said, worked out that way. Now, does the government find that to be to their advantage now? Yes. I think that's really well put. And there's a quote, and if I had a better memory, I could tell you what it was. And I'm sure some of you guys will know. So we've got a lot of really bright people out here in our little community here. But there is one of the founding fathers had a quote specifically about that, and I can't remember which one it was, about the dangers of becoming a strict two-party system. But yes, I agree with you completely. And even what you said at the end, that's why I'm in favor of a form of government that gives everybody the chance to be exceptional. That's, excuse me, I think that is the greatest service a government can do for its people. Give you the chance. If you want to work hard, you can get ahead. That's what I believe government is for. Flame Enforcer, if Obama didn't help Iran, this wouldn't happen. I don't agree with a lot of Obama's policies, but I can't say that I agree with that. Iran and their issues with America way predate Obama. And as much as I don't agree with Obama on a lot of policy, I have admiration for the man, and I believe that he, and this is what I talk about, it's too bad there's not more healthy respect in our current political structure, but there isn't. Even when I disagreed with Obama, I never once didn't think he was doing what he honestly thought was best. Now, again, it may not have coincided with what I thought was best, but I think he honestly always had best interests at heart. Giving Iran back that money, even though it was technically theirs, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have given them those billions. I said, I just, and again, I'm being honest. I said, fuck you guys. With the things you've done, and that treaty. I know Trump tore up the treaty. I never had any faith in that treaty to begin with. I don't trust Iran as far as I could throw them. So, I can't agree with you that this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Obama, even though I don't agree with everything Obama did. Okay, hold on a second, guys. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. I keep forgetting. Oh, no, I don't have another page. I should have another page tracking my... Well, if I should miss somebody's super chat or something, guys, please let me know in the chat. Brother, he says if WWE happens, the K-pop stands will be first to go. and I should say that I'm going to make this distinct and clear when it comes to K-pop stands. I can't stand. They annoy the shit out of me. But I want to be specific. It's the stands. Is K-pop my thing? No. I think it's silly. Did every single generation have a genre of music that was probably silly? Yes, including mine. We had the Monkees, goddammit. I mean, the Monkees were horrible. It was terrible. It was America trying to catch up with the Beatles and failing miserably at it. So every generation has had that. The K-pop stans are the obnoxious assholes that post their cams and shit post on Twitter. Like, you'll have something dire like what took place in Iran, and they'll be posting their fan cams with all the keywords from that dire situation or from somebody's death to try and get views on their cam. So yes, having them go first would be okay with me. And again, that's why I'm specific about it. If you like K-pop, good for you. Like I said, again, it's not my thing, but every generation has had music that wouldn't be my thing or wouldn't be somebody else's thing. But the stands are obnoxious. Luminary Prism says, Australia is horrifying. 500 million animals estimated dead. More land on fire than exists in some countries. People literally standing in the ocean to avoid fire. So fucking scary. I don't even have words. I mean, it's just such a horrific thing. You know what, and what disgusts me about it as much as anything else, it gets covered here in America, and the other Americans I'm sure will agree with me, not nearly as much as it should. And I know right now, especially with what just happened in Iraq, that deserves to be covered to the extent it is and to dominate the coverage. But prior to that, it's like everything, the wildfires in Australia, I mean, I understand that covering it may not be, in and of itself doesn't help them, but you don't know that. You don't know when they finally get past this, when those fires can be doused, what Australia might need. Why not let the world know that there are people in real need, that there are people standing in the ocean to avoid being burned to death, because when push comes to shove, maybe they are going to need our help financially or whatever it may be. Excuse me. This freaking cough. So yeah, I just get disgusted by how little information we get on it. Wolfhound says, you help me, trust me. Well, I appreciate that. Secondly, could you react to Kurzgesagt? What if we nuke a city? I don't know about React, Wolf, just because I've got such a lineup of things I want to react to now. Especially now that I found reacting, and I found out I had done it before too. Just reacting to that DBZA. Basically, I become a weeb. I just love anime so much. And when I'm on here, you got to remember, I'm 58 years old, guys. I don't have any peers who even know. Most of them don't even. Genuinely, most of the people I know near my age know nothing about anime. As many of them think it's Chinese, as think it's Japanese or anything else. So you guys are the only chance I get to share and have fun with that stuff. So now the thought of adding into along, with the regular reactions we do, just doing reactions again to clips from old anime that I've seen just so I can revisit it, has really got me jazzed up too. So it's just a matter of, I've got such a list, and I've been neglecting getting back to Brandon's videos and stuff. That's the only reason I don't look for more things to react to. and I get so many suggestions, I just hesitate to take one because then it's not fair to all the other people that ask me to react to something. Omega says, I don't dislike Obama. I think he was the wrong president at the wrong time for his ideas. And that's fair. Like I say, I actually even voted for him once. I voted for him once and didn't vote for him. I voted for Romney, was not overly disappointed when Romney lost. The only reason I voted for Romney was because I do think he's a financial genius. And at that point in our history, I think we needed somebody who could be strong with the economy. I did vote for Obama against McCain. So, like I say, and to this day, through my life, and it's been a long life, if you told me I could hang out with any president that has been around in my lifetime, while they're still alive, wouldn't be as much fun to hang out with them, when they're dead. Well, it might be some of them. But anyway, if I could hang out with any president, it would be Obama. I think he was the best dude out of all of them. Did I agree with him politically? Sometimes yes, most of the time no, but I just think he was a good guy who had what he felt was America's best interests at heart. You should definitely react to Goku's last day. That sounds familiar, Edgar. Now I can't remember. I'll have to do a search, Edgar. I just have to go into YouTube. I'll put in Spaz Boys Comedy Goku's last day. I gotta remember. I gotta make sure I didn't react to it. It just sounded familiar to me when you said it. I could be way off base because you know how my memory goes. But outside of that, yeah, anything like that. That's any of those things I wouldn't mind seeing. Watch it, even if I'm watching them again. Jamie says, no matter what happens, I hope I get to meet you, Uncle Curtis, before the world ends. Me too, Jamie. I wish, we talked about, somebody said, hey, what would you do? Would you ever want to get to 1 million subscribers? I'll tell you, if there's one cool thing that having a huge subscriber base would do, that would probably be the coolest, is that I could set up and actually do meet and greets. Because I would love to get to meet some of you guys. It's just that, right now, okay, we've got 230,000 some subscribers, but a lot of those people aren't even active anymore because the channel's been around so long and everything. So for me to set up a meet and greet, say I said Orlando, Florida, or Las Vegas, or New York City, which is really convenient for me, you're only going to have at most a handful of people that would know of the meetup and be in the area, and then it would have to be on a day where they could get there. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you get up to those big numbers of subscribers, I could set up meet and greets, and that would be a blast. That I would enjoy. Excuse me. Prism says, the UN estimates we can buy ourselves time with climate change with $300 billion internationally. I feel like the rich ones, like the U.S., can afford to not build 2 new planes and contribute. You know what I wonder, though, too, Prism? And I do a lot of reading on this, and I'll be the first to admit the science gets over my head a lot. But from what I can glean from the reading I do, I am convinced that climate change is a thing. I am not as thoroughly convinced that we have as much impact on it as some want to tell us that we do as humans. Especially when you do carefully look at the history of the planet and all it's been through. And this does seem to a large degree to be cyclical. But again, I'll admit that the science goes over my head, so maybe I'm missing important factors. But I'm not as convinced that we can have as much impact as some people seem to think we can. What happened? You have 9 something subscribers. That's way too many zeros for me to figure out, Jason. Markiplier Fishbach? You like my pick? I can't. It's just a little too small for me. I can't quite make it out, pal. Let's see. Biggest contributor, Chrome says, biggest contributor to climate change is China. There's no real push to deal with them. Climate change is an issue, but it's kind of overblown when people say we have 13 years left every 13 years. Well, Chrome makes a good point, too, because, again, being an old fart, I can tell you guys unequivocally that the doomsayers about the planet's existence have been around for many, many decades. I couldn't tell you how many different times in my life we've heard that the planet only has fill in the blank number of years left, 10, 12, whatever. At one point it wasn't global warming, as a matter of fact. This was in the 70s. They were saying it was another ice age. We're all going to be under thick a thick layer of ice worldwide. And so, in other words, as advanced as science, let's put it this way: as advanced as science gets, and yes, obviously a scientist knows way more than do I. However, to say that they could unequivocally know for certain how much influence man is having on climate change, I don't believe. We cannot even accurately predict the weather in a given region more than 5 days out. And that's not a knock. It's just saying that the technology doesn't exist. And if we don't have technology that can even accomplish that, I have my doubts about how accurate we can be on something that's a much larger scale, such as climate change. Excuse me, guys. Curtis, how do you feel about Mike Bloomberg facing Trump for the elections? As a lifetime New Yorker, Mike was an awesome mayor and a financial genius. Only nominated I have a genuine interest in. I don't like Bloomberg, brother E. Things such as the I think Mike Bloomberg is the ultimate in overreach in government. Things like the size of the soda that you can buy in New York City, along those types of lines. I'm not a Bloomberg fan. If you guys are asking me from the Democratic side, if I had to pick one, or if I had to pick someone, who would it be? I think Buttigieg is workable. He's got a lot of things I disagree with. I think he's workable. If Andrew Yang would drop, and then everybody would drop him, his $1,000 a month horse shit, I would be willing to listen more to him. And I don't think Biden's a terrible guy. Those would probably be... And Tulsi, I always kind of like Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, she has no chance, but I always kind of like Tulsi as well. Those would be the ones that stick out to me. Let's see. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, is somebody sit? Hold on, I think I just saw. Shit, I'm gonna buy it too fast. Curtis, your GTA on? Yeah, it should be Sandro. The live stream from earlier. Yep, it should be. Unless YouTube did something to it on to it on me. As far as I know, it is. It should be right on the channel. It's so nice to be able to live stream and have it all actually look nice. Excuse me. Smokey Loki. And again, thank you for the magenta sky. Another reason we're divided is that a lot of people have lost sight of what the purpose of political discourse is. Oh, yeah, I completely agree. They go into it with the mindset that they're 100% right. They have to win, and if the other person disagrees with them, then they're evil. It's sad. Yeah, and that's both sides. You're right, Smokey Loki. And that is absolutely both sides. Again, I've been around for an awful lot of years. It's never been this divided. I remember the clashes between the hippies and the police, and the hippies and the conservatives. And as bad as that was, it was nothing like what we're going through right now. And what really intensifies it, of course, is how small the world has become with things like social media and the immediate exchange of information and video. And yeah, it's unfortunate. There's just right now it seems like there is no solid way forward. You're going to see even with this, even with what happened here in Iran, you will see, and again, I'm not throwing stones because both sides do it, but in this case, what you're going to see from the left-leaning media, they will do everything they can. You will see, I guarantee you, a big push to dig up anything on Trump or the Trump administration, that any misstep they might make, they're going to magnify as much as they can, because right now they're afraid, because historically, a war is good for whoever is president at the time in their party. Generally in America, we don't change administrations in time of war. That panics a lot of people on the extreme left, the ones who are so extreme that the betterment of the country or what's best for the country isn't most important to them, the power is, and that's a lot of the media. You're going to see a real come out in force, find every little nugget you can and hammer it home because, wow, we're afraid that this doesn't benefit us politically. The super chat sky is looking pretty good right now. It is Big Green. We got a lot of red and shades of reddish up there. Yeah, the tax out. Well, that Flame Enforcer, that was when he what is in New York City? You can't buy anything larger than a 20-ounce soda or something like that. And those are the types of things that piss me off to no degree, is when government overreaches into our lives. That drives me nuts. It's just like I'm not a motorcycle rider, never have been, but the motorcycle helmet laws. Listen, if you want to ride a motorcycle and you don't want to wear a helmet, you endanger no one but yourself. I am not in favor of laws being made to protect our health as individuals. You can put information out there, then let us make the call. If somebody wants to ride their motorcycle and they feel free because without wearing a helmet, and they don't give a shit if they, splatter their brains around on the sidewalk a little bit, so what? Free country, let them do it. But it's, again, then it comes back into corporations. It's the insurance companies that made them do it. The insurance companies made them pass those laws. Those are the type of things that, along with the soda sizes and stuff like that, that really, really irritate me. Michael Lombardo says, I agree, both sides have lost sight of any objectivity. Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, I would say a lot of it is due to the left instigating so much more. Well, I think, and in fair, and again, I'll admit to you guys, I'm right-leaning, but I think the left is actually hurt by things like Twitter, because the more sane left is not even allowed a voice by the extreme left which are the mobs that run Twitter. You have to follow them down the line or you're garbage to them. So I think you're right. I think the left are bigger instigators right now, and it's simply because, and it's still a remnant of, they lost an election that they felt was 100% in their pocket. And some people are they're never, ever going to be able to get over it. We saw that right from day one after the election. Omega, I agree with you on the point. We are making laws to protect people too stupid to do it for themselves. Yeah, I and that's the thing, Omega. Now, if you make a law that requires, I'm just trying to think of a good example, but anything that requires me to do something on behalf of protecting someone else, it's cool. May not like the inconvenience, but I understand it. But when you make a law telling me that I have to do X, Y, Z because it's what's best for me, fuck you. Government's not my big brother. Government's not my mother. If you want to put out pamphlets, if you want to make information available about dangers of something, like not wearing your helmet when you're riding a motorcycle, that's fine. And you should. That's what government's there for, to give us guidance. But when you cross over to making laws about it, yeah, I don't like that. Time Link. Good to see you, pal. How can I deal with my politically obsessed college? Oh, colleges are rough. My teachers are hardcore Democrats, and all the politics are getting to be a bit much. I'm not political, by the way. And Time Link makes a good point. And people get berated for that, too. Not everybody has to be political. And people say, oh, you gotta be. How can you not have a voice? Well, it's just not an interest to them. Some people don't have strong feelings one way or the other. Maybe there are some people that are like, well, unlike me, that are like, capitalist society, socialist society, doesn't matter. I'm willing to give it a go either way. I'm willing to put my faith in others. So I can't even imagine. You're not, and like Tom Wink says, or alludes to, you're not even allowed to be apolitical anymore. That's why I've never understood every election cycle we hear, get out there and vote, it's your duty. No. If you're not interested in politics, if you don't fit, and that's perfectly fine. If you don't feel like you want to take the time to learn about the candidates, don't go out and vote. Why would anybody encourage people to go out to make an uninformed vote? There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be involved politically. I wish I could tell you how to deal with them, Time Link. I mean, I know how I would deal with them, but it would get me kicked out of school. I've never been one for, and I don't mean, that's not a threat. I don't mean physically. I've never been one to not speak my mind. I will say exactly what I think, and I will say it in no uncertain terms. So yes, I would not thrive in the current situation in most colleges. So I wish I had good advice for you. But the only thing I can tell you is I get where you're coming from. Not everybody thinks that you have to be politically minded. I think it's ridiculous to try and force people to feel that way. Correction, the far left. Yeah, I get you, Mike. Yes, I get you completely. The far left is absolutely the bigger instigators, I believe, without question. And in fairness, that wasn't always the case. Go back, I'm trying to think how many years, 20? boy, time goes by fast. 15, 20 years ago, when the Tea Party first became a thing, it was the exact opposite. Then it was the far right that were the bigger instigators, and the left was like recoiling to fight back. So, just like everything else in politics, it comes and goes. Excuse me. Big Green says, this is me. I'm one of those people. I'm not interested in politics at all. I've been dragged out of the house to vote one time too. Yeah, see, I don't get that. You're perfectly entitled to not be into politics. I don't understand people putting that pressure on. You have to vote. You don't get to complain if you don't vote. Yes, you do. You can still complain if you didn't vote. Just because you didn't vote doesn't mean that you have to be silent about everything. And even if you did vote, how no matter who we vote for, we never know exactly what promises, what platitudes they're going to honor and which ones they aren't. So any of us are eligible to complain. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Chrome says, oh, Bloomberg's a fascist cunt who wants to control every aspect of people's lives. That's why I don't like him, Chrome. He's already stated if he wins the presidency, he's going to dictate and put into law what people are allowed to eat. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's one of the day one people, too, Chrome. He'll tell you that. On day one, I'm going to make this rule, and on day one, I'm going to take this presidential action. I can't stand Bloomberg. Lightning Gamer, thoughts on Trump and him killing terrorists? We've been talking about that, pal. I know you just came in. We've been talking about that. Basically, in a nutshell, to give you the quick rundown, I think no matter who the president is, when you are approached by your military advisors and you say, we've got a guy like this in our sights, we know where he's going to be, we have utmost confidence we can take him out, you okay the mission. And again, that's not political. That's not dependent on which political party the president is from. You take him out. With what he's done to Americans, and I do agree with Trump on this, with what they feel he was plotting to do to Americans, which is fits perfectly into his MO. It's not hard to believe. Yes, you take him out. Does the potential for the fallout concern me? Sure, like it would anybody else. But it doesn't change the fact that I think he did the right thing in taking this guy out. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that, pal. I like that. I like the squishy faced emojis that they have on here, too. Omega Project says, my views on politics is that I have my opinions, but if you don't ask, I won't bring it up. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way, Omega. And that's just, you guys know, because of the wrestling background, respect is a big thing to me. So, and that's one of the reasons why. It's like, not everybody's into politics, so I don't bring it up if someone else doesn't, because there's a good chance they don't want to talk about it. So, yes, if somebody brings it up, I love talking politics, but I'm with you. That's just a respect thing. Not everybody wants to talk about it, so I don't bring it up. Smiggy, January 1st, this will be a good year. January 2nd, Australia's on fire. That's horrible. January 3, World War III is happening. Yeah, Smiggy, I'll give you that. No matter what, again, I don't believe this will lead to World War III, but I get the sentiment. And yes, it's 2020 has been an insane 3 days. I'm hoping things are going to start leveling out in a hurry. And for another 12 months, they can level out. Hey, train. Scout McFly says, I'm a junior in high school, and from what I've seen from colleges, I'm most likely going to join the military. It's ridiculous what's going on in those places. I don't think that, there's one... The thing that can be said for the military is the benefits are still phenomenal. And if you're inclined that way at all, I wouldn't fault anyone ever for joining the military. Again, you guys will see, well, a lot of you guys are older and are already experiencing this, but to the younger people, I can tell you, there's nothing in the world greater than great benefits. I'm speaking from experience here. I was a truck driver, and now I work for a local municipality, a local city. I could have made throughout my career a lot more money driving for the independents. I mean, I made a good wage, especially for our region. We have a very depressed economy here. For our region, I made a good wage, but I could have made a lot more money. But the benefits were fantastic. We have health insurance that is just ridiculous. And now that I'm retired, I keep it for the rest of my life. We have a retirement that's excellent. The state retirement from the era when I got into it is excellent. So I forsook all that money that I could have made working in the private sector to stay here for the benefits, and it's the best decision I ever made. I could have made an extra $12,000 a year every year, but I stayed at the lower pay rate and kept those benefits. And the one thing about military service that still holds true is the benefits are fantastic. And yes, I can completely understand anybody being disgusted with the college experience. Spaz Kid is very, very lucky. He goes to a small countries type college, and it's much more evenly structured politically than most colleges you'll see. So there's something for everybody there. Mike Lombardo, I try to explain how I see things in each instance, not how I may feel about a party or person overall. Those two things seem to get conflated. And again, we agree. Right. That's why it brings back just what somebody else had asked me. It's a good example why somebody said, are you a Trump supporter? It's like, well, I don't know, because it depends. Did I vote for him? Yes. Am I going to vote for him again? Unless something dramatic happens, yes. Do I support him as a person? No, I think he's kind of buffoonish, and I think he's a bore. Do I agree with everything he says? Of course not. Do I agree with the way he does things? No. But I am more simpatico with him in his beliefs as far as his platitudes and his political standings. So you're right. It's not always so black and white. Smokey Loki says, education is terrible right now. No basic life skills are taught. I'm I can't even speak. You're preaching to the choir there. Are taught to kids at all. Who needs to know how to fill out a tax form or build credit? Government doesn't want a critical thinking, self-sufficient populace. You hit on something that I am a huge believer in, Smokey Loki. There are so many high school classes that are requisites that we can absolutely shit can in favor of teaching kids how to attack life. And not even how to be prepared for life. Just like you say, tax forms. Teach them about taxes. Building credit. Have a whole class in taking on debt. Because it starts immediately as you're leaving high school when you start taking on college debt. Teach the kids, okay, the value of your college. This is the degree I want. Okay, that's great. You want, little Timmy, you want that degree. Now, here's what you can expect to make working in that field. Here's what private college A is going to cost you. Here's what state college B is going to cost you. Here's what a degree you could get from home in an online college is going to cost you, because in your specific field, where the degree comes from is not important. The employer is going to look at you as an individual. Say it's social work or something like that. It's not important where you got the degree from. Do not overpay for your degrees. Don't start out your adult life by making poor financial choices. Could not agree with you more, Smokey Loki. That's the stuff we should be teaching kids. Let them get ready for life. Master Roshi says, hey Curtis, want to learn the Kamehameha? Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times I've tried to do the Kamehameha and all I've done is poop myself? Of course I want to learn the Kamehameha. It's disturbing how much of the time it's all I think about. Rick Rhymes says, Papa Franco is not dead. The Lord will return. Oh, how cool would that be? I mean, I completely understand. I never want to make it sound like I'm, being unfeeling towards him. I understand why Papa Frank had to give up doing his sketch comedy or just gave up Papa Frank. But man, it would be so cool if he had a change of heart and came back to it. God damn. Bush rearranged the education system, Prism says, to only prepare kids for college and not other facets of life. Needs an overhaul. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. We have so many classes in high schools that you just shake your head and it's like, unless you're going into a specific field, you're never going to use it again. And if you're going into that field, you're going to take that information again in college anyway. Teach kids how to deal with life. Jesus Christ, that drives me nuts. And again, just the things that Smokey Loki was pointing out. Teach them how to fill out a tax form. And more importantly, teach them about debt. Jeez. Chrome says, teach kids madness. Send them to the Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Guess who never learned taxes? Well done. Jamie says, last time I showed any apolitical tendencies, I was called a stupid centrist asshole. That's the world we live in now, Jamie. I was called the same thing when I said I don't take sides. I prefer to view the facts before deciding. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And both sides will do it. If you don't go with that's both extremist sides, I should say. If you don't go with them down the line, you're garbage. And you can be with them 90% of the way down the line, and you're still garbage for that other 10%. Yeah. Yeah. Again, but Smokey Loki hit on something there. I've never brought it up, and I'm glad he brought it up because I've never talked about it on a stream before. You're so right. So much of what kids learn in high school now is just useless, and there are so many ways we could be helping them so much more. Uh, Flaming Fortress says, honestly, college is so useless. There should be the option of going to a professional program right after high school. Oh, I agree. I agree that trade schools are, I think more and more people should look into trade schools after high school. That's as good and a lot of times better than a college degree. Omega Project says, Jim is pointless, cough. Yeah, kind of got a point there. I mean, really, because and gym, they say, well, gym classes are about teaching about maintaining your body. We all took high school gym classes. Did you really learn anything about honestly taking care of your body? We went out and we played dodgeball, we played softball, we played kickball. That's what we did. Yeah. Okay, guys, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. God, this was a great conversation. I'll try and do these more often. I love talking, not just politics, but I just really, really enjoyed talking current events. This is why we got to, I mean, and that credit goes to you guys. We've got a lot of really sharp people that come into the streams, and I appreciate the conversations. I appreciate the civility of the conversations. I have such a good time with all this. I just can't tell you. And again, it just makes me feel good. I'm almost 60 years old, and I've said it over and over, I don't generally click with other people my age. They don't have the same interests that I do. They don't see much of the world the same way I do. It's so much fun to come and talk to you guys who, even when we disagree on things, it's still a healthy disagreement and a fun disagreement and a learning experience for me. I couldn't tell you how much I learned from talking to you guys. So I appreciate these. We'll have our regular streams coming up. Again, we're going to be balancing between Minecraft. If I die, I'm going to cry. And GTA 5. I think I did pretty good driving today. I was actually rather impressed. So we'll be balancing between those and coming back to have these conversations as well. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will talk to you guys as soon as I can. Once again, this stream and having you guys here have made my day. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oh, wait. Check out them big booty. Checking out them big booty and tatas in gym class. Unfortunately, back in my day, we didn't have much of that going on either. Everybody was very conservative. I'll talk to you guys later.